All right. Good afternoon, YouTube. It's me all the way, George Page, aka the Emperor of Bodybuilding Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. Well, folks, today is my Sunday discussion, and as you know, last week we were having a discussion about the things that the NPC IFBB need to approve on bodybuilding, and the thing is that it needs to really um, you know, you know, really affecting how some of these competitors, um, you know, make a living. Now, I sent some links to some ladies and some people to see if they're coming. We see we have anybody to come on, and we get their point of views, their thoughts. Because this is something that we had a great discussion a couple weeks ago with Big Keith Williams and Big Lemonade Brooks. Miss Fischella Fights, thank you for coming through. I appreciate it. Smash that like, share, and comment whatever you like. So thanks. So the thing is if you follow bodybuilding like I do, there's it's where my man Big Keith said it. It's a poor man's sport. A lot of competitors don't make as much money as they should. It's not as lucrative of a sport compared to other mainstream sports like football, baseball, basketball, boxing. And the thing, it's a financial struggle for a lot of competitors. Between all you have to do, like I said again, is the cost of you know everything from the cost of travel, food, paying your trainers. They're for the women mostly makeup, hair, the posing suits. It's just a lot that costs for them to make, and really it's hard to try to make a living as a bodybuilder if there's nothing going back in. And, the IFBB, they are over the professional division of bodybuilding, NPC is over the amateur. The thing is, when you're amateur, you put more money in, but you don't get much back. You pretty much don't get nothing back as an amateur because you just compete and you earn the pro card. Now, we talk about once you get that pro card, it's a little card you get, and it says that you're a pro. And you have to pay from anything from $200 to $300 a year to maintain your pro status. And that's the thing about that. And we were talking about how, the cost of being a pro is crazy. It's expensive, you know. You gotta think about it, even when you do compete in shows, if you do get into the money part, like the top three competitors in the money part, you don't really get much back as you put in. Like, the men will always, I think the men, they do pretty good at this because sponsors will put more money towards the men. The guys have sponsors. The sponsors pay for, give them money to, pay for their needs, such as their, maintaining, the gym, their trainers, their food, their supplements, and some other things, and that's a good thing when you have a sponsor. But a lot of these women in bodybuilding don't have a sponsor, and they're paying out of their pockets. That's why it's such more expensive for them than it is for the men. And what should happen is you get this IFB Pro card. One thing you should do is you paying fees, like you're paying like paying membership fees. Those fees should go to something that you as a competitor can use. Most notably, health, health care. Like if you get sick, you don't have to pay out of your pocket for a doctor. Or like I said, like when I worked my old job, we used to I paid like $57 a week out of my check. And then my job had to put in the rest to cover it. Because if you get insurance by yourself, it's going to cost you a couple $100. That's expensive. That's a couple $100 out of your pocket. But if the job covers the rest of the payment, you're good. And the thing is, if people if these professional bodybuilders could afford insurance, that would help them. If they ever get sick, They can go to a doctor, get themselves checked. If they get hurt or injured, they can pay for it. They don't have to, go out of their pocket. Or, it's a lot of people. One thing, a lot of people don't want to go to the doctor and have a bill. That's the thing. You don't want to have a bill. The IFBB should take care of these competitors. Now, one thing with women's bodybuilding, even though it's not part of the IFBB lineup per se, it's still IFBB adjacent. And all these women still have to pay their pro deeds, deeds, or the pro fund, they have to still pay in as a pro because they want to use the name IFBB. But the thing is that they should get something out of it, that use. Those things can be useful in the long run for its competitors. Also, I think this is something I think that they should do is do a union. A union would be good for bodybuilders, because what it does is they have grievances or issues, they can talk them over. Things like the prize money. As you know, promoters put the prize money, but they need sponsors to give them some of that money so they're able to put up the prize money. The thing is, the IFBB should do this. This is just my thought opinion. IFBB should also put some money in. They get in a lot of money, but they don't put nothing out. They get promoters to put behind their company, but they don't put the money into the shows. Also, I think IFBB should put monies into shows, which also will compensate. Like as you know, most of the shows, the big money is going to go mostly to the men. That's the men's open. They're going to get the big money. And, other than that, I think that's the only division that really gets the big money. You have men's classic physique, you have men's physique, you have men's 212, depending on how they fare. Then you have the women's division, such as bikini, wellness, figure, fitness, physique. That's it. And you have the wings. You have female bodybuilding in its own section. It's not really per se part of the IFBB per se, but they still have to pay their IFBB dues when they get that card. Now, like I said again, what needs to be done, what should be done, is that these professionals should have something to fall back on. Like when you get to a point where, okay, you're done, you're retired from bodybuilding, you can still pay your IFBB dues, which just gives you the benefits you need. Like I said, if you're not competing anymore, hey, you still should pay your IFBB dues so you can get the benefits of it, such as healthcare, life insurance. Also, I think the IFBB should put into what we call a 401k. Now, if I remember my old job when I 401k is money I put in for my job that comes took out of it. It goes investing in something, and then that money gets collected over time. So, like, this is a good example. Like, if something happens, like depending on how long you've been competing, how long you've been putting into your 401k, if something happens, something like your car broke down, or if you have some other financial issues, you can dip into that 401k. I remember I took a trip with my family about a few years back. I dipped in my 401k, and it was called a hardship loan. And what the hardship loan does is you got to pay that money back. And that's the funny thing about it. This is money that comes out of a check. I got to pay it back. So, but hey, that's fair. I understand that. But that money taken from that your NPC dues, it splits up to three different things for life insurance, health insurance, also for a 401k will help those competitors. Like say when you finally retire, you say, I'm done. You can, whenever you need that money, it's there for you. And like I said, with the 401k, if you're still competing, if you're a competitive bodybuilder, and I think you've been competing at least, been paying your NPC IFBB dues for at least, I would say, 3 or 4 years. If there's enough where, I want to borrow some money, I want to get a loan off myself so I can go ahead, okay, I want to go out of town. Like if I got an opportunity, I got to compete at a show and I need the money to pay for a rental car or to pay for a paid ticket and you're a little short, you get enough time, you can do that. Salute to Tay Brown. Oh yeah, Tay. Last night, how do you feel about when Nunes got submitted by the Venezuelan Vixen. Yeah, it was epic night. Yeah, to tell you, I'm so happy. I just did a video about the Venezuelan Vixen beating Nunes. I'm glad Nunes is no longer the double champ, but that's another story altogether. But as I said again, if that being that you're paying your IFBB Pro card, you play the 4Ds, you should have that money set aside for 401k. So whenever you need a hardship loan or you want to borrow from it, it's there. And that is a good thing. That it is something money can borrow from. And even like I say, you no longer compete as long as you're paying your dues. It's like if you're in the union, like you're a Teamster. Even though you retire from Teamster, I think many Teamsters still pay their dues. Also, they have a pension. That's something that would go, if you can, like you say, I want to retire, I don't want to do it anymore. You could swing your whatever left over from your 401k into a pension. And, that will really help a lot of competitors who are struggle. The thing is that, just this past, few months, just about the end of the year, a lot of competitors have struggled. And then we had some people that passed away. And that's why I think that's something that the IFBB should do. Also, EPC should also take part, because you know what? There's people in the amateurs that's passing away. Now, I was like, this one guy who I follow on Facebook posted how it's crazy how much money you got to put in to compete in in shows. You got to pay show dues, especially if you compete in the amateurs. And also, this is why I found out for a lady who I follow, she had to pay dues to compete in masters. Now the thing is, when you hit masters, that's pro level. So why are you still paying fees? It don't make sense. When you hit a pro level, you shouldn't pay fees. But the thing is, it's about money. And it's hard on a lot of these competitors. Now, like I said, it's a lot harder on the women more than it's on the men. Like I said, with the men, like I said, they can get sponsors easier. And also, other than they're paying for their food, travel, their coaches, their trainers, and all the other stuff, all they got to wear is put on the tannin lotion, tannin on, set up on a bikini hammock, and just go out on stage. Especially with brothers, we don't need no hairstylist. We just shave our head bald. That's it. Cut it to a certain way. But with the women, I can't borrow off my 401k. Yeah. Well, tell you apply for a hardship loan, because you should be able to borrow from your 401k depending on how long it's around. But yeah, you should apply for get shit loan. Yeah. You should be able to borrow from your 401k if your hardship loan. That's money you put into your from your check. That's your money technically, but you still have to pay that back when you borrow from there. I know some people say it's not fair, but hey, it's just you're dealing with banks a lot of time. But the thing is that I say like this: the IFBB and the NPC should really, help assist their athletes a little more financially. They're making millions and billions and billions off of these people, from promoting and also the image of these they use. But it's not fair that they're not getting anything out of it other than having an IFB card. A little card that, like my man Big Keith said, he had to take to Kinko's, or was it and get it laminated. Like, nowadays you have to take your Social Security card, get laminated. Used back then, I think he used to laminate Social Security cards, but it's not doing that. I used to remember that. But these competitors, like I said, with the women, they have to work just as hard, and they don't get much out of it as they should. Like, even, if you win a show, depending on the show's money, prize money, at the most, I think some shows might get $4,000 or $5,000. What's worth $4,000 or $5,000 when you put in maybe about 6, 7 into it for a show, getting ready for it? Yeah, it's always they're always gonna take taxes. Death and taxes is always a thing that's always going to happen, no matter what. But yeah, that's a part of it. But like I said, these women got to put in more. Like I said again, besides other than their food, their trainers, their other people to help them get ready for a show, they're getting tanned, makeup, hair, the cost of paying your to get into to get the show, to be get to entry fees, and also the posing suits. The posing suits, it costs maybe somewhere from $1,000 to $2,000 for a posing suit. A posing suit. It's just gonna. Most of it may wear maybe 2 or 3 times. And also might have 2 suits. You have your prejudging suit. It's nothing fancy. Nothing. And you have your final suit, which something you wear where you might be in the top 10. You might possibly win. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's one part we'll talk about. Is this is my sister Tay Brown, and Tay, you want to come in? Just let me know, and I'll send you a link. But we talked about this also on what our brothers Coach Sarah has saying in Comment Sports, that it happens also in MMA. MMA fighters don't get as much compared to boxers and other sport. Boxers, even like I said, the top MMA fighter doesn't even make much than a second tier boxer. And a second tier MMA fighter don't make that much as a bottom basement boxer. Somebody who don't have a title, just have a name, and that's sad right there, And she mentioned my dear friend Tay Brown mentioned Leslie Smith, and I've mentioned this before in my last discussion. Leslie Smith used to be in UFC, now she's at Bellator. Leslie was trying to push a union for MMA fighters. But, what she did was she let too many people know. And sometimes it's best to move in silence when you do this. You can't put your faith in people who you call your friends. Sometimes they're the ones who will cut you to the quick. Because some people are so worried about the short-term money and not worried about the long-term money. They're worried about the money they're getting now instead of about the money they need. And facts, Tay. Yeah, but like I said, Tay, if you wanna join, just send me your email. Okay, and it's just the cruelty. Like I said, these competitors are risking their life and their health, especially like this. Same with bodybuilders. Bodybuilders and MMA, I think bodybuilders and MMA are almost in the same lane. Both of them are, putting so much risk in themselves, but getting a little back reward. You have MMA fighters now going through mental health issues. You just saw Felicia Spencer. She says she want to retire. Roxanne Modafferi, she can retire after her last fight. Guys now who are dealing with concussion issues, who's dealing with, other physical PTSD. I know there's a boxer by the name of Mia St. John. She says she's been dealing with PTSD plus alcoholism, drug abuse, and same thing happens in all this, like even professional wrestlers. I was watching a video with a professional wrestler by the name of Mia Yim. If you ever Mia Yim, if you ever heard of her, she's a wrestler in WWE for a good minute, and also she was wrestling in some small organizations. And a lot of these professional wrestlers don't make as much as you think they should. Their promotions make a lot of money, but they don't make as much. So the thing is, if you're not like the top, professional wrestler, you're not gonna make a lot of money. You look at somebody like I said, Ric Flair. Ric Flair, he was struggling for finance. That's why he's doing, commercials now. Hulk Hogan, at that thing with his racist stuff he's come on. That's why he's in trouble. But the thing is, this is why I like both WMA and bodybuilding. They are kind of similar in some way, and they both have crossed paths in some times. I know MMA fighters who competed as bodybuilders. I know bodybuilders who competed as MMA fighters. It's kind of like they share the same kind of path. Now, so good. The thing is, these people, they need financial help. One thing, they need to know how to set the finances. Like, just think about it. Instead of getting with women and they compete a show, they can get something between $4,000 to $5,000 for first place. And then you drop down, and then might get some shows I've seen women might get $1,000 to $500 if they get third or fourth. That's not much after how much they put into it, And then a lot of ladies have to do. They would do like this is what I'm gonna call them. This is what they are, and this is because I know much more. They do what we call the Beat the Meat websites. These are the sites that mostly are dedicated to fans of women's bodybuilding. Women's bodybuilding fan base is like this. It's majority is male. You have maybe a good amount of women who are a fan of it, but majority is male. The guys like the women. They like to see the women after shows when they're super shredded, when they're ripped, their muscles are popping all over. They are, you just did a show and they're just vascular. And they do the photo sessions because it's a way to make income, especially if you don't make any money. Even if you do make the money on placements, you still want to make a little money to compensate for your losses between the food and travel, hotel, all the other stuff. But if the prize money was better for some shows, especially for the women, I'm not saying that women should get as much as the men do. That's, I know I talked this with one lady by the name of Wendy Sanchez. We mentioned this when I did an interview. But they should at least get something out of it. As you know, in professional sports, the men are always going to make more than women. The NBA is going to make more than the WNBA. Men's soccer can make more than women's soccer. Women's boxing, they just make barely anything compared to men's boxing. And for women's boxing, some women boxers don't make as much as some women mixed martial arts fighters. That's why you saw Clarissa Shields jump over. She's one of the most successful, most popular female boxers and champions around. She still doesn't make as much, and she's not. She's only one of the few that is well known. You might say you would name 5 women boxers. You can say you can start with Layla Ali. You're gonna say oh, there she is. Give me a second. You will say Ann Wolfe, Lucia Riker, Christy Martin, and Clarissa Shields. I got somebody coming in, and she is a wonderful lady. She is my dear friend, one Miss Daphne Carter, nurse.
Hello. Hi. Sorry about my delay.
Don't worry about it. Just worry. I just started out. So you got the kids with you. Hey, baby.
I do.
So anyway, what we're talking about is, discussion is what can be done financially to help, just not just bodybuilders in general. What you feel like is a competitor. You need, you think that there should be a little more prize money. It should be like, a little more assistance. What did you think is need to be done to help just the sport in general?
I think for me, I don't want to speak for anyone else, really. I mean, of course, prize money is important to a lot of people. Bodybuilding is a very expensive sport, and I'm speaking from the woman's side because we have suits, we have hair, makeup, nails, jewelry. Not only are we paying a coach, we have choreographers, for routines and posing and gym memberships. I mean, the list goes on. It's a big investment for a lot of us, all of us, really. The time that we put in, supplements and food and all of that. For me personally, like I said, I don't just compete for just the prize money. I compete because I love it and I want to always place well. It's a bonus that we get the prize money, and it gives us back a little bit of what we spent. And sometimes it doesn't even cover all of it. So for me,
Yeah.
it's really the sponsorships that I prefer to have and rely on, because that just makes a huge difference for me. Because if you could have that, it does help reduce the cost that you have to put into, everything that we have to do, tanning and all of that, So I think it'd be nice if we could have more companies looking out, in a sense, for the underdogs and sponsoring people who are up and coming. I know that big names, attract companies, because then they figure that it'll attract more people and more customers. But there's some people who are not so big in the industry as far as a name, but they're hard workers, and they engage with their audience as far as social media is concerned. They put in a lot of work, and I think that it helps too when you're looking at people who sponsors could look at people who are not your average, athlete, in a sense that that's not all we do, like we're parents, and we're, we work, and we're balancing all of this. So sometimes that little help, goes a long way. So for me, I think it's really the sponsorships that I depend on and I prefer to have. The prize money is really a bonus for what we're loving to do on stage.
And the thing is, like this, you have a job. If you ever know, if I did my interview with Daphne before, she's a nurse, and that's a good thing that she has that job, which helps with her finances also. But being an IB pro, I think one thing you need is maybe a little extra. Like one thing is you have kids, you're competing, and you're paying your fees for your card. You should have things like health insurance, like a 401k, and also life insurance. Something extra while you're competing.
And those things I have just being a manager. I mean, I've always, with whatever organization that I'm employed by, those are my first priorities. Because again, as you mentioned, being a single household income and parent, those are things that I have to make sure are secured for my family. So that goes without question. I would never put competing before caring for my family financially, but it really is, those things you should have. That's definitely a priority, because you have to be able to take care of your health and that of your family, and make sure that, God forbid, something happens to you, your family's cared for. But you mentioned, there are other expenses that we incur just in everyday life and our responsibilities. And I'm not, some people may argue, well, if you can't afford it, don't do it. I've heard that. I've seen people who like start, no, they do, I've seen people start GoFundMe accounts to help them with their competing. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And people shouldn't judge, like some people love to do things and they just can't afford it. It's just like starting a small business, right? Before you could take off, you may have to get a small loan or someone to invest in you. For bodybuilding, some people, that's how they treat it. It's their business. It's something that they love to do. And they know that it's a financial cost. Some cannot afford all of it. So I don't see anything wrong with reaching out and asking people to help out. If you're genuine about that person succeeding, then, it's not an issue for you. But, like I said, some people will make the argument that if it's that expensive, don't do it. But anything in life that you want to do, whether it's bodybuilding or even starting your own business, is going to cost money, and people are going to need help. That's just what it is.
And like I said, being a bodybuilder, your body is your business, and if it's a way for you to make a little money on it, that's the way you're supposed to do. But also, like I said, the IFBB should also assist, like where because they're the ones who getting a lot of the money. You're the ones who putting money into them, but you're not getting anything out of it. You're just getting the card and use the name IFB Pro. But if they should do is like, especially as we just had these deaths that happened this year, and I saw how a lot of people have done GoFundMe's for people, and that's why I mentioned that, where if you're paying these fees every year, that money should go for health insurance, life insurance, a 401k. I mean, and the IFBB, they're the ones with the big money. Like when I used to have my old job, when I had a 401k, or when I had my health insurance, my job put in the rest because if you get health insurance on your own, it's going to be a couple $100. Mine was like maybe $55 a month. But if my job will go ahead and compensate for the rest of it, and that's what the IFBB should do. Like if you got life and health insurance, they can afford to throw in extra money, help the competitor, because you're the people that are on the stage. If there was no bodybuilders, there's no IFBB or NPC.
And I see that point. I can't truly comment on that simply because I don't know how their structure of business works. It's still a conscious and individual decision to go into bodybuilding knowing the I guess consequences of certain choices that we make, etc., the kind of things that we decide to do to get to a certain physique. And it would be hard to hold that organization to a certain level of responsibility for each individual's actions. That could be a little tricky. I could understand, even with our employers, they don't pay 100% of my benefits when it comes to medical insurance and my 403B. I have to make a contribution to it. And so, even my medical insurance is discounted in a sense because I work for someone. My 403B, I still have to invest and it's matched by my employer. So, it could be very difficult for organization that operates the way that they do, and again, not fully understanding and having knowledge of their structure, to put that responsibility on them. I can say that maybe for consideration, especially when we are, losing athletes, how we've seen this year, that maybe they create, some type of fund to help the family of those people who have gone. Like, for example, my employer has something that they call the Sunshine Fund. And we, as employees, make a donation out of our payroll that contributes to this Sunshine Fund. And so if someone has a hardship, it allows for them to say, okay, that person could apply to the Sunshine Fund, and then they give them a certain amount to help them through that hardship. So maybe something like that. And then, maybe athletes could contribute to this fund, and then the IFBB Pro matches it to help out the families of those who have lost, someone. Like recently, Sean Roden, and he has a young daughter who's not going to get to know her dad. And I'm sure that as she grows and being a mother of two children, those expenses add up. And, it would be nice to start maybe a fund in her name. So as she gets older, she has the means to, attend the college of her choice that may help pay for her books, housing, maybe even a little bit of tuition, something like that. I definitely would say that we probably could come together as a community and help out, and not just put all the responsibility on the league, but that they could help match it if any of us had, so choose to contribute.
Mm-hmm. That's a good idea, because I think that would help out, especially financially, especially if you make it put it to a fund for their child when the children get older, say what, I want to go to college, or if you don't want to go to college, you're well, you don't go to college, we hit 21, you can use it towards you want to, if we have a job, or maybe buy yourself a house or something like that. That could be something that could be conducive for it. Just and it'd be something worthwhile for a lot of competitors, because you know what, you put it, like I said again, you're putting a lot more you can getting back. And if it was where it was like with other sports where athletes, they put in like boxing, basketball, baseball, all sports, they put in as much and they get a lot back. But as you know, your sport is considered a hobby sport, a fringe sport, and people are just so afraid of it because of the fact of it's always going to say that word steroids. But that's in every sport. Every sport has it.
Yes, it is.
And but it's more noticeable with your sport because people gonna look at it and say like this. Only people that probably they would use for sponsors, or they might want to, is like maybe the bikini models some of the physique women, and I think bikini, wellness, some physique, and probably the fitness. But they're going to avoid women bodybuilding because women are a lot more bigger. But there's not much difference between muscles if you look at it's a couple of divisions. But like I said, I think sponsors should take a chance, and this will help. It will help a lot of you competitors. Like I said, a lot of you ladies. I'm not gonna say because the kids are here. A lot of you ladies have to do what we call a lot of the for a lot of the photos and videos just for like these sites to try to make your income. Because like I said again, you put in you got this, and then you got to if you don't even make the money placing, you got to have some way to make a little income how much work you put in.
Right. And I'm grateful. I've had some wonderful sponsors. I still do have some wonderful sponsors, I should say. They've taken a chance on me. I deliver based on, whatever they ask of me, whether it's advertising their products, giving them a shout out. I've been very blessed. I really, really have been blessed with the sponsors that I have, but there's some people who don't have that opportunity. And, but I think, again, that's really where it is, because you really feel it more getting ready for it than collecting the money after the fact, So I think where it really needs to start is the sponsorship, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think one thing was that I mentioned a couple weeks ago where I was talking to a couple of people, how if big name sponsors could throw some money behind bodybuilding, I think that probably will help it. If companies like Nike or something like Gatorade or some apparel companies like Under Armour would put their money behind bodybuilding, I think it would help the sport grow. As a while back, if you follow MMA, UFC had a contract with Reebok for some time. Now they got a contract with Venom. And I was talking earlier, comparing bodybuilders to MMA fighters, they don't get paid as much as you do. They might get paid a little better, but they don't get as much sponsorship, and they put in more risk for their sport. If you look at it like this, I was telling something like I said earlier, boxers, the top tier boxers like John Jones, Conor McGregor, the former, like I call it, double jump champ, Manny Nunes, make a lot of money, but still they don't make as much money as the top professional boxers. They're like, I think they make maybe a little bit more than some boxers, but still, not as much as others. They might make something, maybe I would say a guy doesn't have a title, but he has a name. But, and I think with bodybuilding, if you're not like, Andrew Shaw, Sarah Vilgas, Big Romney, Dexter Jackson, a lot of the people that in your sport who are the bigger names, it's harder for you financially.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And if there was a way in which, there was more, I would say, financial stability in the sport, I think you probably have more people competing. A lot. I've known some people who come in, they compete a while, they say, you know what, I'm done. I'm not getting anything out of this. I'm out.
Yeah, because it's very expensive to maintain. But big companies may not want to take that risk, just because, as you mentioned, what's associated typically with bodybuilding as far as the use of steroids and stuff like that. So big companies are not going to take that type of risk. And I could understand. I mean, it's a very tricky situation. So yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know that would ever happen really in bodybuilding, like Under Armour or Nike or Adidas. I don't see that.
Yeah, but that if they did, that would really probably help.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Absolutely.
Because we know that it may not ever happen, but that's something that's really could help the sport grow and probably even maybe get more mainstream attention,
or maybe even televising them like they used to back in the day.
Yeah.
But that doesn't happen anymore either. So
yeah, because that's funny. Because I remember talking a couple weeks ago with Big Keith Williams and Brittany Brooks. How I remember when I was growing up, I used to watch bodybuilding on television. Used to come on NBC. That's like that was free. That was free. Used to come on ESPN. Fox Sports used to have it. And now, if you watch it, you don't even see World's Strongest Women anymore. You still have World's Strongest Men. They do CrossFit every now and then. But it's funny how you watch ESPN. You can watch poker and people like we were talking about this. playing tag. So we used to do as kids. It's on television. And these people get sponsors. And it's funny, this is not even,
Right.
other than you have to, in tag, you have to run. But in poker, you're sitting at a table for maybe 2 or 3 hours, maybe more, and just, playing cards. And but they got the sponsors and they got people money. Other than Vegas, most time poker is illegal in most states in the country. And I know there's some people trying to make it legal because the fact is, you can go to Atlantic City and play poker. You can play, you can play your own home. That's one thing. But, it's hard. Gambling is just practically illegal unless you do it online gambling.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm. It's just the thing is, if bodybuilding was more like any other sport, you're still getting attention. Like I said, it's a struggle for it. It's a struggle for your sport. Yeah. Well, I know you're about to get home, so we appreciate your time. Next time we have a bigger.
Oh, thank you for having me as always.
I'm happy. I appreciate it. I say Merry Christmas to the kids.
Thank you.
And next time we get
happy holidays to you.
Yeah, we'll get a bigger platform. We have more people. We talk a little more. We have another discussion. So we thank you. Appreciate your time.
That sounds great.
All righty. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you, George.
Love you. You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
So that was one Miss Daphne Carter, and she gave some good points. How one thing the problem is with bodybuilding is getting the financial help for it to grow. A lot of companies wouldn't want to put their names behind it because of the fact of the stigma of steroids. But here's the thing: is steroids is prevalent in almost every sport in the world. Not in I don't know how to call poker a sport. It's something that your dad used to play on the weekend with his friends in the in the garage or in his den. But the thing is, bodybuilding needs some kind of support. If you are a sponsor, if you feel like you want to take a chance to invest into a bodybuilder, that's great. Reach out to these ladies. Reach out to these guys. They can use the help. Save them some money in their pocket in the long run. But like you said, getting prize money is a bonus. But it shouldn't be just a bonus. It should be something that helps you out also. Financially, it's tough for a lot of these competitors. But like I said, with the women, it's a lot tougher because a lot of companies not comfortable with the idea with women and muscle. That's why they will probably push like women like bikini, wellness, some fitness competitors, and maybe every now figure physique competitor because they may still maintain a bit of femininity in their mindset. But women bodybuilding going to have a lot harder because the women are a lot bigger, more muscular. But some of these women in that division are no different from some women in the other division, especially physique. And if you look at figure and physique, they're not that far apart in a way. But this is something I want to ask you. If you could, if you could invest into a female bodybuilder, who would it be? What would you do for it? And this is also I want to say to you, don't look for them from these women and these men. I know a lot of people who invest into the companies might want little stuff, little fringes, little benefits at the side, but you shouldn't. You shouldn't do that. These are athletes. Other than maybe they are like spokespeople for your product, or use them for when you go, like we do. Sometimes we do like go to these shows, and you use them for selling products like T-shirts, supplements, stuff like that. That's what the job would be. Anything after that, it shouldn't be more than that. Or you just want to help somebody further the career. That's a good thing. I'm not saying you should give them like half a grip, but how about this? Maybe every 3 or 4 months, $100. That could help. You got to think about it. That could help for gas. That might help for, paying their trainer, or also some other stuff. Also, if you're a person like, hey, you know what? If you live in a town and there's a competitor coming, you say, hey, you know what? I have a spare room. You can stay overnight. That saves you money on a hotel room. That helps right there too. Travel expenses. Like say, hey, if you live in like if there's gonna be a show, you know, whatever that is, if there's gonna be a show in your town and you're good friends with a competitor, say, hey, I have a spare room. You know, you can stay overnight. You know, that saves you on your you buying a hotel or get a motel. You know, you use my kitchen. That saves you right there too. And if you want, I'm happy to buy you some groceries here and there to help your with your prep. You know, and just do it because you really want to help that person go farther in their career. That's what you need to do that for. Don't look for something in return. Just do it because you want to do it because you genuinely want to see this person succeed, especially if you're a true fan. But like I said, going back to the thing about finances. I kind of agree with some things with Daphne said, but also there's the IFBB and NPC should do more. Now I don't know, like I said, I don't know how their finances work, but I know they make a lot of money because you know what, sponsors are putting their money into these companies so they can sell their product, so they're getting a paycheck on the side. Right. One thing I would love to do if I had the resources and the finances, I'd love to do some shows, on my own. If I could. Most definitely, I would like to do a show here in North Carolina. I thought about this place. I remember I was watching episode. One of my favorite shows was the return of Dinner Impossible, Robert Irvine, and Robert did an episode of his first episode he did was in my home state of North Carolina. He did it in Asheville, North Carolina. Asheville's a little farther away from where I stay at. It's like maybe it's right there. I think around about between, I'm trying to say, Tennessee and Mississippi, I believe. It's right there, border those states. And this is a time they had like a food truck challenge, and they had a lot of food trucks. I said, you know what, that's a good place to, because Asheville was a lot cheaper than going to Charlotte or Raleigh or Wilmington. Some of one of the bigger towns in North Carolina or cities. And what I would do is I would do a show there. I would have 2 days. I also have a pro-am show because with pros, with amateurs they get paid in, so that's the money you can get back for the amateurs. There's a lot more amateurs competing than there are pros. So you might have like maybe a show 200 to 300 competitors. So because you have so many divisions, you have lightweight, heavyweight, this, that, ABC, all that. You have so many divisions and classes, So I break it down and say I have a pro-am show. I do the amateur show first because the amateurs got to pay an entry fee. So that's money you're getting back. Then you do the next thing, you do the pro show. Now, how I break it down to certain classes and divisions. I'm gonna have maybe four divisions for the men. That'd be men's open, men's 212, men's physique, and men's classic. Men's classic is pretty popular. Physique is 212 is kind of like they're falling off, but still, for the lighter guys. For the women, I have 5. I have women's open, women's physique, women's figure, bikini, and wellness. Because wellness is new, is popular. Bikini is the one that is going to get a lot of crowd. Figure, because I'm not gonna have fitness because what's the point of fitness? I think it's gonna be too long. The routines like that. The figure women are closer to that to women's bodybuilding than anything. So I have those 5 divisions. Then also I bring in masters. And I break masters down to women's to 40 plus and 50 plus for both men and women, and they have those divisions like the in the pros and amateurs. They have the 212 for the man, the open, the classic, and the physique. And same thing like the women, they have the open, the physique, the figure, the bikini, and the wellness. So break it down like that. That'd be a great show to have in North Carolina because And one thing I would love to do is make the prize money. The guys are going to get, I would say, make it $30,000 for the man. You got to get the big prize money for the guys because the guys won't come. It's hard to get them. And prize money break down to the other divisions. I would say $15,000 a piece, but in the other divisions. And then you break them down like, okay, $15,000 women's open. You break it down to, I would say, $10,000 for second. 8,000 for third, and then 4,000 for fourth, and about 2004 fifth, and that'd be nice. Some of these ladies would love to have that, and also the other divisions men's 212 and all those other ones, they're gonna get 15,000 a piece. But we all know that the big money will go to the men's open. That'd be a great show to have. Also, I would love to have to do a show in Texas. I know that a lot of competitors that live in Texas, especially in women's bodybuilding. And they don't have to scatter and go from this state to this state or this city to this city to do a show. Do a show in Texas. I would say I think there's a big women bodybuilding community that would love to have a show in Texas. You don't have to, like my lady who I'm a fan of, Miss Jamie Savage, who competes, who just got a pro card some time ago, who competes in women's bodybuilding. I think she would love to do a show in Texas, so I don't have to travel. People like my dear friend Brittany, Big Lady Brooks, Myla Ash. I mean, a lot of competitors who live in Texas who would love to have a show in their home state. So I was if I had I won't say it want Jake Woods money, maybe close to Jake Woods money, but if I had that type of money, that's what I would love to do. And also one thing we talk about what should happen at the show should have medical assistance. It should be a doctor on call. It should also be EMS. Because what happened with Alina Havani this summer, how she died because there was no one there other than maybe just the basic people that work in the back. They need a medical assistance. Should have an ambulance ready to go. I would say 2, just in case. Especially when somebody dehydrates, somebody gets sick. They need to be rushed to the hospital. I think that could have saved her in the long run. Those are things that need to be done in IFBB also. The promoters can do that. That's up to the promoters. They can do that. That should be a requirement for every show. They should have EMS workers and a doctor on call. You go to a fight. There's a doctor at the ringside. When you go play basketball, when they have a basketball game, there's a doctor at courtside. Those people are there for the protection of the athlete. But the thing is that the IFBB and the promoters are not protecting the athletes. They just should. But like I said, I'm not gonna stay on too long on this. Like I said, I was hoping to have a big community. But you know what? It just me is cool. I do appreciate Miss Daphne Carter. I appreciate her time for coming through. She's a wonderful lady. She's a beautiful person. Check out Daphne. If you're a sponsor, if you want to be a sponsor, she's a great person to sponsor. She's a smart, intelligent woman. All these other ladies who I've talked about, who are up and comers, who are like my dear friend Brittany Brooks, Jamie Savage, Liz Curtis, Mary Ann Wykowski. If I got a name wrong, sorry, Mary Ann. I'm saying Mary Ann. Many of these ladies who have done interviews with, many of these women who has contact with. These are women who love youth sponsorship to keep them going. Because, like I said, bodybuilding is a financial money pit, and they barely get as much of it out of it as they put in. But if you are a sponsor, take the opportunity, give these women a chance, reach out to them. And once again, guys, I'm gonna say this to you guys: no D pics. No, don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. Don't send that stuff. If you're truly somebody who really wants to, help somebody succeed in their career in the sport of bodybuilding, be just straightforward. Don't be looking for anything out of it. Just look for the fact that you want to get somebody to succeed and go farther in their career. But anyway, like I said, I do appreciate it. Like when Daphne, I do appreciate my sisters, Miss Fishiana Fights and Tay Brown for coming through. Also, if you're a fan of WWE fighters, there's some people like Miss Sarah Alpar. My sister love it. My sister love it. Young, a lady who I've become a friend from, Miss Brittany, War Machine Neiman. They also can use sponsors because it's just a financial stress on a lot of these competitors. Lady, I've been in contact with Katie Perez. I hope to get an opportunity to do an interview with Katie. Miss Jessica Braga, other ladies who are in this sports and mixed martial arts. Caitlin Young, who I've been in contact with. Give these women some financial assistance in their goals in competing in mixed martial arts. Bodybuilding and MMA, even though there are totally different sports, they kind of come in the same lane. They're sports that are seen as fringe sports. And the competitors, the athletes, don't get as much money out of it as they should. Even though I think MMA might get a little bit more compared to bodybuilders, but still, it's not as much as you compare to other sports. So like I said again, there's things that the IFBB NPC need to do to improve, like cut the price down of entry fees, provide assistance when there is medical issues. Like I said again, if you see somebody look like they're going to faint or fall on their face, like I saw that video with Patty Hansen, where she almost she was a Chicago Pro this summer. She nearly died on stage, just like they had to give her water. Where somebody should say, doctor should, like in the boxing fight, in a boxing match, when a boxer gets a bad cut, the doctor comes to intervene and say, you know what, you got to take him out. You got to see him. He's done. That's what she should have done. Intervene and save her life. It's not worth risking your life for when you, especially if you don't get nothing out of it. But like I said, support these people, support these men and women who compete in these sports that are considered fringe sports. If you are, as I said again, if you are a sponsor, I'm going to keep saying this. If you are a sponsor, if you watch my video, reach out. All you got to do is you start with one. You can pick somebody and say, you know what, reach out to them and be serious about what you're doing. Be serious. Don't be, because sometimes some of these women have been kind of what's the word to say? They've been taken advantage of in the past, and they have gotten a bit cynical. When people generally want to assist them in furthering the career. But if you are generally want to help somebody, help them. But like I said again, don't look for something out of it. Look at the fact that you're doing a good deed by a good person. So anyway, this was my Sunday discussion. It was kind of hoping to have more people. But you know what? If it's just me and another person, that's cool. Or just me, period, that's cool. But I do appreciate the people I reached out to. I do appreciate all you people listening. Like I said, I appreciate my sisters, Miss Tay Brown and Miss Fishiana Fights. I appreciate them coming through, supporting, liking, and commenting on my video. I support anybody who are fans of both the sport of MMA and of bodybuilding, who really want to see these sports grow and want to see these athletes get a fair shake. You should be on the way, George Page, aka the Emperor of. Let me say these two both from together: Bodybuilding Talk and WMMA Talk. Coming to you live on YouTube. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Like, comment, subscribe. Like I said, reach out to these people that are competing. And also, my rule again: no D pics. All right. Merry Christmas, and I'll see you next time.